Hi kids, Uncle Pete is back to read to you on Storytime, brought to you by Lunenburg Public Access in Lunenburg, Mass. If you remember last time, I read you a story by Dr. Seuss called The 500 Hats of Bartholomew Cubbins. That was his second book. Today I'm going to read you his first book, but a little bit about Dr. Seuss first. He was born Theodore Zeus Geisel in Springfield, Massachusetts, over 100 years ago. And today, there is a very interesting park in Springfield with a lot of statues of the various characters that he had. There's a statue of the Grinch, the Cat in the Hat, and the Lorax. So if you ever want to trip out and you're a fan of Dr. Seuss, take a trip out there and check it out. When Geibel went to Dartmouth, the kids called him by his middle name because they thought it was funny, and he decided to adapt that as his pen name. Now, he lived in Springfield near a street called Mulberry Street, and that's what this book is about. It was written 1937, even before I existed, and that's a long time. When I leave home to walk to school, Dad always says to me, "Marco, keep your eyelids up and see what you can see." But when I tell him where I've been and what I think I've seen, he looks at me and sternly says, "Your eyesight's much too keen. Stop telling such outlandish tales. Stop turning minnows into whales." Now, what can I say when I get home today? All the long way to school and all the way back, I've looked and I've looked and I've kept careful track. But all that I've noticed, except my own feet, was a horse and a wagon on Mulberry Street. That's nothing to tell of. That won't do, of course. Just a broken down wagon that's drawn by a horse. That can't be my story. That's only a start. I'll say that a zebra was pulling that cart. And that is a story that no one can beat when I say that I saw it on Mulberry Street. Yes, a zebra is fine. But I think it's a shame such a marvelous beast with a cart that's so tame. The story would really be better to hear if the driver I saw were a charioteer, a gold and blue chariot, something to meet, rumbling down like thunder down Mulberry Street. No, it won't do it all. A zebra's too small. A reindeer is better. He's fast and he's fleet. And he'd look mighty smart on Mulberry Street. Hold on a minute. There's something wrong. A reindeer hates the way it feels to pull a thing that runs on wheels. He'd be much happier instead if he could pull a fancy sled. A reindeer and sleigh. Say, anyone could think of that. Jack or Fred or Joe or Jack, say even Jane could think of that. But it isn't too late to make one little change. A sleigh and an elephant. That's something strange. I'll pick one with plenty of power and size. A blue one with plenty of fun in his eyes. And then, just to give him a little more tone, have a Rajah with rubies perched high on a throne. Say, that would make a story that no one can beat when I say that I saw it on Mulberry Street. But now I don't know. It still doesn't seem right. An elephant pulling a thing that's so light would whip it around in the air like a kite. But it looks simply grand with a great big brass band. A band that's so good should have someone to hear it. But it's going so fast that it's hard to keep near it. I'll put on a trailer. I know they won't mind if a man sits and listens when hitched on behind. But now, is that fair? Is it fair what I've done? I bet those wagons weigh more than a ton. That's really too heavy a load for one beast. I'll give it some helpers. He needs 2 at least. Adds 2 giraffes. But now, what worries me is this. Mulberry Street runs into bliss. Unless there's something I can fix up, there'll be an awful traffic mix-up. It takes police to do the trick, to guide them through where traffic is thick. It takes police to do the trick. They'll never crash now. They'll race at top speed with Sergeant Mulvaney himself in the lead. The mayor is there, and he thinks it is grand, and he raises his hat as they dash by the stand. The mayor is there, and the aldermen too, all waving big banners of red, white, and blue. And that is a story that no one can beat when I say that I saw it on Mulberry Street. With the roar of its motor, an airplane appears. It dumps out confetti while everyone cheers. And that makes a story that really is not bad, but it still could be better. Suppose that I add a Chinese boy who eats with sticks, a big magician doing tricks, a 10-foot beard that needs a comb. No time for more. I'm almost home. I swung round the corner, dashed through the gate. I ran up the steps, and I felt really great. For I had a story that no one could beat, and to think that I saw it on Mulberry Street. But Dad said quite calmly, just draw up your stool. Tell me the sights on the way home from school. There was so much to tell, I just couldn't begin. Dad looked at me sharply and pulled at his chin. He frowned at me and sternly from there in his seat. Was there nothing to look at? No people to greet? Did nothing excite you or make your heart beat? Nothing, I said, growing red as a beet, but a plain horse and wagon on Mulberry Street. Dr. Seuss made a living off his imagination. And kids, the more you can imagine, the more you can think, the more you can dream up, you could be Dr. Seuss #2. Keep reading, and we'll see you next time.
Hi, my name is Debbie Consalvo, and I am a children's book author. I wrote my first book called Adventures of Milo the Dog, Who Are You? And I can't wait to read this at a future date. But today, I have another book I'll be reading called Can I Be Your Dog by Troy Cummings. Dear people at Yellow House, woof, can I be your dog? I am potty trained and I have my own squeaking bone. Also, I love to play. I see you have a cat, but I'm willing to work with you. Who's a good dog? I am. Sincerely, Arfie. P.S. I know every house on Butternut Street, but I asked you first. Dear Arfie, we're so sorry, but you cannot be our dog. Our cat is, allergic to dogs? Good luck in your search. The Honeywells. Dear Butcher Lady, can I be your dog? I think your butcher shop would be a great place for a puppy like me. I could keep the floor nice and clean. Arfie. Look, pal, I've got a bone to pick with you. Last time I let a dog into my shop, A dozen meatballs went missing. Sorry, but there's no way I'm taking in a pooch. Veronica Shank, Butcher. P.S. No hard feelings. Enjoy these dried giblets and good luck finding a home. Num, num, num. Dear Fire Station number 5, can I be your dog? I can fetch your boots. Plus, let's just say I know my way around a fire hydrant. I've sniffed out every single one on Butternut Street. And yours is the shiniest. Arfie. Dear applicant, thank you for your interest in working with Butternut Street Fire Station. Unfortunately, the position of fire dog has already been filled. We will keep your letter on file. Best wishes in your search, station number 5. Dear Junkyard Guy, I'm not gonna lie. You're my next to the last choice, but these past few days have been rough. Rough. So please, can I be your dog? I don't eat much, and I can bark if people try to steal your junk and stuff. Hopefully yours, Arfie. Dear Mutt, get lost. Dear last house on Butternut Street, can I be your dog? I see that your yard is full of weeds, and your windows are broken, and there's a funny smell, but I'm not picky, just lonely. Arfie. Return to sender. Nobody at this address. Last house on Butternut Street. To Arfie. Dear Arfie, can I be your person? I need a friend who will be with me no matter what. Snow, rain, heat, or gloom of night. And I see that you already know everyone on Butternut Street. I know you'll make a first-class partner. With hugs and head scratches, Mitzi Whipple, letter carrier. P.S. If you agree, meet me at the big blue mailbox. Dear Mitzi, you know what? My tail has been wagging ever since I got your note. My answer is yes. Truly yours, Arfie. P.S. Woof. Scratch, scratch. The end. I have another book I would like to read today. It's called Ira Sleeps Over by Bernard Wauber. I was invited to sleep at Reggie's house. Was I happy? I had never slept at a friend's house before. But I had a problem. It began when my sister said, "Are you taking your teddy bear along?" "Taking my teddy bear along?" I said. "To my friend's house? Are you kidding? That's the silliest thing I've ever heard. Of course I'm not taking my teddy bear." And then she said, "But you never slept without your teddy bear before. How will you feel sleeping without your teddy bear for the very first time? I'll feel fine. I'll feel great. I will probably love sleeping without my teddy bear. Just don't worry about it," I said. "Who's worried?" she said. But now she had me thinking about it. Now she really had me thinking about it. I began to wonder, suppose I won't like sleeping without my teddy bear. Suppose I just hate sleeping without my teddy bear. Should I take him? Take him, said my mother. Take him, said my father. But Reggie will laugh, I said. He'll say I'm a baby. He won't laugh, said my mother. He won't laugh, said my father. He'll laugh, said my sister. I decided not to take my teddy bear. That afternoon, I played with Reggie. Reggie had plans, big plans. Tonight, he said, when you come to my house, we are going to have fun, fun, fun. First, I'll show you my junk collection. And after that, we'll have a wrestling match. And after that, a pillow fight. And after that, we'll do magic tricks. And after that, we'll play checkers. And after that, we'll play dominoes. And after that, we can fool around with my magnifying glass. Great, I said. I can hardly wait. By the way, I asked, what do you think of teddy bears? But Reggie just went on talking and planning as if he had never heard of teddy bears. And after that, he said, do you know what we can do after that? I mean, when the lights are out and the house is really dark, guess what we can do? What? I asked. We can tell ghost stories. Ghost stories? I said. Ghost stories, said Reggie. Scary, creepy, spooky ghost stories. I began to think about my teddy bear. Does your house get very dark? I asked. Uh-huh, said Reggie. Very, very dark? Uh-huh, said Reggie. By the way, I said again, what do you think about teddy bears? Suddenly, Reggie was in a big hurry to go someplace. See you tonight, he said. See you, I said. I decided to take my teddy bear. Good, said my mother. Good, said my father. But my sister said, what if Reggie wants to know your teddy bear's name? Did you think about that? And did you think about how he will laugh when you say, Tata is a silly baby name, even for a teddy bear? He won't ask, I said. He'll ask, she said. I decided not to take my teddy bear. At last it was time to go to Reggie's house. Good night, said my mother. Good night, said my father. Sleep tight, said my sister. I went next door where Reggie lived. That night, Reggie showed me his junk. He showed me his flashlight, his collection of bottle caps, a chain made of chewing gum wrappers, some picture postcards, an egg timer, jumbo goggles, and a false nose and mustache, and a bunch of old rubber stamps and labels from his father's office. We decided to play office with the rubber stamps. After that, we had a wrestling match, and after that, we had a pillow fight. And after that, Reggie's father said, bedtime. Already, said Reggie. Already, said his father. We got into bed. Good night, said Reggie's father. Good night, we said. Reggie sighed. I sighed. We can still tell ghost stories, said Reggie. Do you know any? I asked. Uh-huh, said Reggie. Reggie began to tell a ghost story. Once there was a ghost and he lived in a haunted house, only he did most of the haunting himself. This house was empty except for this ghost because nobody wanted to go near this house. They were so afraid of this ghost. And every night this ghost would walk around the house and make all kinds of clunky, creepy sounds. Boom, boom, like that. And he would go around looking for people to scare because that's what he liked most to do. Scare people. and he was very scary to look at. Oh, was he scary to look at. Reggie stopped. Are you scared? He asked. Uh-huh, I said, are you? What? Said Reggie. Are you scared? Just a minute, said Reggie. I have to go get something. What do you have to go get? I asked. Something, said Reggie. Reggie pulled the something out of a drawer. The room was dark, but I could see it had fuzzy arms and legs, and it was about the size of a teddy bear. I looked again. It was a teddy bear. Reggie got back into bed. Now, about this ghost, he said. Is that your teddy bear? I asked. What? Said Reggie. Is that your teddy bear? You mean this teddy bear? The one you're holding, I said. Uh-huh, Reggie answered. Do you sleep with him all the time? What? Said Reggie. Do you sleep with him all the time? Uh-huh. Does your teddy bear have a name? Does your teddy bear have a name? I said louder. Uh-huh, Reggie answered. What is it? You won't laugh, said Reggie. No, I won't laugh, I said. Promise? I promise. It's Foo-Foo. Did you say Foo-Foo? Uh-huh, said Reggie. Just a minute, I said. I have to get something. What do you have to get? Reggie asked. Something, I answered. The next minute, I was ringing my own doorbell. The door opened. Ira, everyone said. What are you doing here? I changed my mind, I answered. You what? Said my mother. You what? Said my father. You what? Said my sister. She was still up. I changed my mind, I said. I decided to take Tata after all. I went upstairs. Soon I was down again with Tata. My sister said, Reggie will laugh. You'll see how he'll laugh. He's just going to fall down laughing. He won't laugh, said my mother. He won't laugh, said my father. He won't laugh, I said. I came back to Reggie's room. I have a teddy bear too, I said. Do you want to know his name? I waited for Reggie to say uh-huh. But Reggie didn't say uh-huh. Reggie didn't say anything. I looked at Reggie. He was fast asleep, just like that. He had fallen asleep. Reggie, wake up, I said. You have to finish telling the ghost story. But Reggie just held his teddy bear closer and went right on sleeping. And after that, well, there wasn't anything to do after that. Good night, I whispered to Tata, and I fell asleep too. The end.